Time along the spiritual journey becomes something very interesting because as you are on this conscious spiritual journey, time changes from something usually identified as linear, going from a straight line from the past, present to future, to something more abstract, where you can look at an event that has happened in the past while you're in the present moment, but shifting who you are in the present moment will inevitably shift how you see what happened in the past, thus changing the past. But also, when you are creating and deciding to materialize and manifest certain things, you are also bringing the future self into the present moment by establishing yourself as the future person, right? So being in that moment now ultimately shifts what happens in the future by simply being that person in the current moment. And that's how you become your future self. Often what I say is your true self, because this journey that we're on, it's really about coming into who you truly are, not something other than yourself, right? You are currently other than yourself. That's why you're dealing with struggles and complications and learning how to identify with you being the creator of your universe and connecting with consciousness. But understand that this process of spirituality, this journey, is one of stripping away those paradigms and those negative beliefs and those, unproductive thoughts to truly chip away at those false identities that you have and really come into understanding as who you truly are. Now, with time, as you understand and you go through this journey of going from the linear to the abstract, you have to understand that it can be a very interesting journey, but it can be a confusing journey, right? Because many times from one moment to the next, you are identifying with your past self and what happened in the past. But as you are in the present moment and sometimes communicating with others and listening to them identify with their past, you come into a clarity of like, okay, I still have a lot to process, because though you can recommend that people not be attached to their past, you also understand that sometimes you're attached to the past as well. But by recommending to them that they let go of the past, you are also reminding yourself that you should also let go of the past. And this is how important it is to interact with people, whether they are on a different wavelength, different vibration than you, or on the same vibration. The exchange and the interactions with others is a part of the spiritual journey because they allow you to see yourself. You see, the people that you engage with are reflections of you to various degrees. But you have to acknowledge that when you communicate to others, there's an element of what you recommend and advise to others and share with others is part of what you need to hear for yourself as well, right? Now, back to this idea of time and letting go of the past, but while really not worrying so much about the future, because that's all often what we do, right? We are attached to the past. We are, not willing to let go of the past because of some kind of trauma or harm or event that's happened to you. And you identify with that moment or those moments. Whereas in the future, you're concerned about the future. You're concerned about what's going to happen. You want things to go well, but yet you're spending a lot of your time focused in on what you don't want, right? What you're worried about creating or experiencing. So you have to recognize, though, that the present moment is really all that matters. And you understand this on the spiritual journey. The now is where the power lies. And many people understand that when it relates to the future, but really find it difficult when it relates to letting go of the past. Now, understand this. Who you are at the current moment is creating a memory or creating or having a perspective as to what happened in the past. If your perspective in the current moment as to what happened in the past is that it was something important, it was something important taken away from you or something traumatic that has happened to you, and you have a serious emotional tie or connection to that thing. When you are in this present moment and you are continuously carrying that or having that anchor attached to the thing that has happened, you are reinforcing that same belief or that same weight or heaviness of that past situation in the current moment. But if you are in the current moment and you are evolved in your spiritual journey in a way that understands that when you change or see that event differently, not as something that happened to you because it was just something bad that happened to you and, it was something that was unfair. It was something that, shouldn't have happened in the first place and should never happen to anybody. Though that may be true, you understand that looking at that situation and it happening from a different point of view can shift how you see it in the current moment. And when it shifts how you see it in the current moment, it can shift how you see it in the past, right? So your point of view in this current moment creates the way you view and experience that past situation over and over in your memory and in your mind. Thus, changing how you respond to certain things from your subconscious mind. Because remember, that thing that happened to you, it has been anchored and programmed into your subconscious mind. There has been a program, a trigger, a reaction, right? An assumption even that has been created as a result of that thing because you had such an emotional reaction to what happened. This is how and why a lot of people attach their identity to that thing because it was really anchored deep into your subconscious. Now, as you consciously continue to process this, affirmation, self-hypnosis, autosuggestion, things of that nature, writing things down, journaling, visualizing who you quote unquote want to be, but truly are, and going into practice of all the techniques of manifestation, you begin to shift your perspective and your view as to what happened, why it happened, and the meaning behind it. You can change that meaning. You can change it from something that wasn't fair, that was disgusting, to something more productive. Now you get to decide what you change it to. That's not my call, or that's nobody else's call for that matter, but your own. But you get to decide how to use that situation to empower you from now on, rather than put it in a space where when you think about that moment, you're thinking of or from the point of view of a victim, right? Now you have the ability and the skills with manifestation, consciousness, spirituality to actually shift and change your positioning from that moment in the present moment, right? In the now. This is why it gets kind of confusing, right? Because you're thinking about the past, but you're changing how you see the past in this moment, thus changing how you see the past. You understand? You understand that loop that happens? So recognize that along the path of spirituality, we often understand this general concept, right? That time is an illusion. Time is something that was made up. But we also understand in the physical realm, there is some validity to it, right? There is something to be said about recognizing time. Now, but consciously speaking, time doesn't exist. So when you acknowledge that and you put that into practical application, then you can change your past, right? You can change things that has happened between you and other people. You can change in interactions and engagements with other people. You can change certain events by changing your point of view on it in the present moment. Now, when it comes to the future, you can create your future in the present moment. This is what visualizing is about. This is what imagining is about. This is what affirmations is about. You are going to constantly see yourself in a position by which you desire, right? And recognizing when you are truly connected with that, when you truly understand what it is that you desire and what it is that you are committed to create, then there is no change in that. The more clear you get about it, the more you can connect yourself with that reality, with that future self. But now you are aligning your present self with that future self, and you're bringing that future self in the present moment, making it the now, becoming that now, you see? So you are creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, visualizing yourself in the future, but also practicing, being, moving, speaking and doing all the things that that future self is doing now, thus making the future the present moment. So understand that this concept of time changes as you change. As you continue to grow in your spiritual journey, recognize that the things that were created or happened can change, and also the things that are happening in the future can change and no longer happen in the future, but happen now. All right. I hope that helps you. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com and subscribe to my daily newsletter. Also get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.